What's up, everybody? I am Shane Murphy. This is the Man Cave Broadcast, coming to you with another podcast episode. This time, my buddy Zexerize over on Twitch. Zex, how are you, man?
I am doing great. Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. Glad to have you. I know we've been trying to get this episode going for a while. I'm glad we were finally able to do it. To open it up, tell us a little bit about yourself, dude.
Well, thank you. I am Zex, is what people call me, but my Twitch name is Zexerize _, and if you want to follow me on Twitch, because I mostly stream on Twitch, because I don't like YouTube right now. But so you want to go to Zexeriz _, and I also want to mention that should I plug the podcast?
Yeah,
My
go for it.
podcast. All right. So my friend group has the Gym Socks podcast, and it is GYMSOCKS, and that we are on Spotify, as far as I know, but there's plenty of other platforms that you can find us on. But other than that, that's all I really have to say.
Nice. Tell us about the podcast. What is the Gym Socks podcast?
So what we do is we kind of just it's kind of like a comedy podcast, but we kind of just wing it because we don't know what we're doing, and we also kind of do not plan out topics. So we just kind of wing it and just kind of have fun as what we do, uh, as if we're like somewhere in public.
Nice.
Yeah,
Very cool.
yeah,
So I mean, you kind of know then how this podcast is because it's very similar. Very rarely are we like topic based.
yeah,
Awesome. Uh,
yeah.
so how long have you been doing the podcast? Because when I go on, I've seen a
Uh,
few episodes, but you've told me that there's more to it.
yeah, there's more to it, but with the plan that we have, and yes, we have a plan for our podcast because we don't upload. I mean, it's hard to say this because we upload at least once a month, and they're at least 2 hours, an hour, something like that. And uh, after a certain time, let's just say 3 months, it gets deleted. So there's no other way that we can like recover that episode unless if we get unless if we pay like $5 or something like that, just so that we can keep our previous episodes.
Oh, I see. So it's like a hosting issue.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a third party stuff like that.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Well, make sure to check it out. Check it out timely. That way you can hear those episodes as they go live. Um,
There's one episode currently up, which is good.
good.
That's just make sure that there's at least one episode up.
Yeah. So what
If
got you into
not,
podcasting?
um, man, it's kind of like what my friends wanted to do and what we wanted to do as a group, because like we wanted initially we wanted to do like a YouTube group channel,
Mm-hmm.
but then that plan just failed because um we just didn't have any time in order to record like any videos and stuff, and also we didn't have any good ideas. And so like, hey, like one of my friends go, "Hey, let's do a podcast." And I'm like, "That's a great idea. But what are we going to do? Like
Mm-hmm.
what's our topic going to be based on?" And he goes, "Honestly, I don't know. We're just going to wing it and just have fun." And I'm like, "Okay, let's do that."
Nice. That was really the basis of like my first podcast. So I've been doing a podcast now since probably about like 2009, 2010. So for the better part of 12 years, right?
Yeah.
And I remember how it came about. I was working, this was 2 companies ago, and a bunch of us, we were in sales, right? So we got a bunch of guys waiting for phone calls to come in, waiting to sell, and you're just sitting there shooting the shit on the side while we're waiting. And there was 4 of us who were just constantly talking. So it was me, Ryan, Neil, and Jeff. And what we noticed was is that while we were talking, we would like periodically kind of like look around, and we would just have other people who worked in our rows, right? Because we were all in little cubicle areas. They'd just
Yeah.
be sitting there watching us, listening to us talk. And ever so often, like we'd say something funny or whatever, and they'd start laughing just by sitting there listening to it. They weren't involved in that conversation at all. But podcasting at that time was still relatively new. Like,
Yeah.
you look at 2010, you've got podcasts out there, but it's not something that everyone and their mother is doing. It wasn't as like easy breaking into that space. But
Yeah.
we decided in a similar way. We're like, hey, you know what? You know, people are sitting here listening to us. We might as well try and do this and see what happens. And that's how Murphy's Law and the Mercenaries was originally created. You know, time went on, people changed, the group changed, and it later became the Man Cave Broadcast because I tried to find something that was a little bit more encompassing for a podcast name and topics. And that's basically what you've got here today. So it's funny
Yeah.
how that tends to be what people do. It's like a bunch of friends sitting around talking, and then they're just like, you know what? Like, these conversations are funny. Why don't we just try and put it on the internet? And that's
Yeah.
really how it gets there.
Yeah.
Nice. So tell us about the Twitch channel. Obviously, you're out there streaming. You know, what do you stream? I know, but maybe the listeners don't.
Yeah. So what I do here on Twitch is I've been mostly playing Dead by Daylight, and for what you guys don't know, which probably most people don't know, is like a 1v4, like, so you are either the killer or survivor. So let's just say you're a killer. And it's pretty much just you against 4 other people on a certain map. And it's kind of like the other way for survivor. So it's you 4 and against 1 person. But right now, the current state of Dead by Daylight is, how do I put this in a nicer way? Not that great.
Okay.
Only reason is because of like the certain map mechanics and like bad loading times, and you know, it takes a long time in order to load into a match.
Mm-hmm.
And also skill-based matchmaking is just bad. Like how I put this is let's take, all right, so the ranking system is like ash, bronze, silver, gold, and I think iridescent.
Okay.
And there used to be an old ranking system where it was like 20 to like the lowest being 20 and the highest being 1. But then an update came out like saying, hey, instead of a number-based system, how about like Roman numerals? Because, you know, that makes sense. But currently right now, the year 6 anniversary is out, which I am pumped about that. And also there's a new killer and survivor on the player test build. So what the player test build is like early access to updates before it fully goes out to like console and PC.
Mm-hmm.
And right now the killer looks pretty sick. And I haven't seen any gameplay from the survivor point of view, like the new survivor. But all I know is that the new killer is pretty sick.
Nice.
That's all I have to say about that.
So right now, looking at Twitch, right, Dead by Daylight has 38,000 viewers on it. So there's quite a few streamers, quite a few viewers out there. Now, with the 1v4 format that you've got here, like you said, you've got a killer who's fighting against 4 survivors. So he's trying to kill the survivors. Survivors are trying to escape. 1v4, though, is not like this isn't a new concept as far as games go. The biggest one that comes to recent memory is the game Evolve. So did you ever see that?
I honestly have never heard of that game.
Okay, so
But,
it was a giant monster, like King Kong size, right, running around, and you had 4 hunters that were trying to take it down. So almost in reverse, right? He was trying to take down the hunters. Hunters are trying to take him down. But the game really ends up kind of flopping. There are other games out there. I think 7 Days to Die, the Friday the 13th game, but none of them have really had the impact or staying power that Dead by Daylight has. So what is it that you think that Dead by Daylight has that has really kind of made it stand apart from the pack?
Um, oh, what I think is that how long ago was the game that you were talking about? Evolve, I think it was.
Evolve came out like 2013.
Okay. And Dead by Daylight, I think, came out in 2016, maybe.
Okay.
So let's see. Yeah, 2016, 2015, maybe.
It was
At that
2015 that
time,
Evolve came out.
that Evolve came out. All
Yeah.
right. So Dead by Daylight, yeah, it's younger than or at least it's more newer.
Mm-hmm.
But what I think that Dead by Daylight has its current spotlight right now, it's just because of um like people maybe trying out the game for the first time and thinking, "Oh, this is pretty scary. I might play it again later." And then that kind of snowballs, and that it involves more people, and it's like, "Hey, I might try this on stream because this is a popular game."
Mm-hmm. And
And
go
yeah.
ahead. No, keep
Oh,
going.
sorry. Um, it's just it's it's hard to say because I pretty much got into Dead by Daylight whenever it was free on PlayStation for a little bit.
Okay.
Like there was, the PlayStation Plus thing about that,
Mm-hmm.
and my one of my friends saying, "Hey, you should probably get reinstall Dead by Daylight," and I'm like, "Why? I don't really like it, and it's just, the same thing over and over again." But he's like, "Okay, yeah, sure, but have you ever played the killer side, or have you only stayed with Survivor?" And I'm like, "Okay, I've stayed with Survivor." So I'll re-download it again. And after playing it more, I've been having a whole lot more fun with it.
Nice.
So you can thank one of my friends for getting me to like the game.
Okay. All right. So basically, that I think the game kind of has enough enough of a following and a strong enough following that there are many people who are pushing users to get back in and play it, because it's happened to me multiple times. I was in a similar boat with you. You've heard me get angry at that game. and
Yeah.
and yet it's like, hey, let's play. It's almost like a little peer pressure, right, to get back in, and you start getting through that gameplay loop and really starting to understand the nuance and start to enjoy it a little bit more.
Yeah,
Cool.
exactly.
So you mentioned that in the beginning, like, it really isn't your game. Like,
Yeah.
this is the question that it's going to hurt the most, I think, today, because you and I have a significant age gap. We may
Yeah.
not look it. I look so young. I know. But you know, what is your favorite game? What's your number one game?
uh I These are really good questions.
Thank you. I come prepared.
Unlike my podcast. Um, uh, Before I got into Dead by Daylight, I was really into MLB The Show, which is pretty much just a baseball game, but
Mm-hmm.
retro style. Because I actually play baseball in real life, as you
Oh
can
yeah.
tell by the hat here.
Mm-hmm. What
But
position?
all around the infield and
Okay.
pitch. I cannot catch. I'm not
Okay.
that athletic.
Okay. And yet you're playing in the infield where you generally are going to have to dive. Got it.
But it MLB The Show is just whenever I played it, it was during that COVID era,
Mm-hmm.
so it really just locked me in the house, like playing this game a whole lot, and it's just wow, I've really gotten into it. It's
Nice.
also kind of like the same thing with Dead by Daylight as well. Plus, I also played a lot of Call of Duty because I'm pretty sure you're familiar with that.
Very familiar. I was there for the beginning.
Yeah, as you can as you can tell. But the recent Call of Duties has just been not that fun,
Mm-hmm.
such as Vanguard, which I don't know how it's still maintaining a server,
Right.
but yeah. Cold War, I have it installed on my PlayStation, but I only play zombies
Okay.
because I'm also a zombies player as well.
Nice. Cold War I was a fan of it. You know, especially
Yeah.
looking back, and maybe this is like a rose-colored glasses kind of thing, but I never played Modern Warfare 2019, so I skipped a few generations, then started off in Cold War, then did Vanguard, and the World War II setting really doesn't do it for me for Call of Duty. But I mean, I can find enjoyment in most of them. Um, so which one of the Call of Duties is your favorite?
Uh, World at War. I
World at
said it on
War?
my podcast too.
Okay.
I also said that Ghost is the worst,
Okay.
just because of the like aspect and the game design was just terrible.
Yeah.
And the only reason I like World at War is just because of how it simulated World War II and also how the zombies initially started.
I was gonna say
Because
that's
it
the
started
first
in,
game to have zombie mode in it.
yeah, and it was a massive hit.
I was playing that
Then
game
they
in
went to,
college. And
and
college
then,
was a while ago.
yeah, like 20 years ago.
Not that
Uh,
much, you ass. When did I graduate? 2012? No, nope, 2009. So it's still more than a decade.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm joking.
nice. So okay, kind of switching gears from video games. I want to get into one of your other passions.
Uh-huh.
You could see behind me, I've got a shelf full of vinyl. We know there's a couple of guitars hiding in the closet. I know you're a musician.
Yep.
You know, you've put up music in our Discord that
Yeah.
is available for anyone to join if you want to get on on YouTube and find the link,
The Man
or
Cave
in the
broadcast.
Spotify. Yeah, go to the Man Cave broadcast. It's all there. But
Mhm.
anyways, you're a musician.
Yeah.
Tell me what you play, what your musical interests are, favorite band, etc., etc.
Yeah. I first started getting into music, like, I guess whenever I was like 3, maybe, when
Okay,
I started, like, my dad used to be in a band,
nice.
and the drummer, like, at my older houses, um, there was a drum set there, and I'm like, I'm gonna mess around with it. I'm 3 years old. I don't know I don't know what I should be doing right now. Probably
Hmm.
playing with Legos, which I totally did not eat one of the pieces.
Oh
But
wow.
um, I was like messing around on it. It's like, oh, I really like I did not like the cymbals at all, from what I've been told,
Okay, they're loud.
because they were loud and
Yeah,
stuff. But now that has that has been out the window. Uh, then I started to get in like school bands, which is like sixth grade, fifth grade, maybe.
sure.
Um, I was kind of forced. I'm putting that in quotations because I kind of wanted to do it, but I was also kind of forced in a way. But then I started taking lessons and all that stuff and yada yada yada. And I got better quickly, like in at least 2 weeks, I think. 2 weeks before I took the lessons, I didn't even know what a 16th note was.
Okay,
And then like 2 weeks later I knew what it was, because
you learn
all
it.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as the years go by, like, I think seventh, eighth grade, I was one of the best people in the band, just because I was that advanced and I learned from an early age
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And right now I'm in high school, so sophomore year, almost, like, think 9 days left of school right now for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Um,
I got a
I
ground
had
floor
to.
interview here. When you're famous, I get to point back to this one and be like, I was first.
But yeah, I didn't know how to play like the bells and mallets and all that stuff, because I didn't know what the notes were, other than like the non-black keys, like the white keys and then the
Hmm.
black keys. I didn't even know like all that was. And then I'd say like the middle of my freshman year, I think, uh it kind of just clicked for me whenever I learned like music and stuff, like the notes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, oh, this is D and that's G because it goes up in a certain way, and then it resets after G.
Right.
Yeah,
How many instruments do you play?
I play two currently, and that's guitar and the drums. And
Nice.
I also wanted to grab this thing that I got. It's pretty cool.
What is that? Just a little tiny.
It's yeah, it's a little tiny guitar, but it's on a magnet, so
That's
it's
awesome.
really cool. I got that like I think a month ago,
Nice.
maybe. I also got my amp back there and stuff. It's
Very
what I
cool.
used to record my music and stuff.
That's
But
awesome.
then, yeah, it's pretty cool.
So, favorite band?
Favorite band? I've been listening to a lot of Foo Fighters, and I mean a lot of Foo
Mm-hmm.
Fighters. Their whole entire discography is amazing.
Yeah.
Like the way that the rhythm is used and the iconic sounds
Mm-hmm.
of the guitars and everything and iconic beats and everything. And also rest in peace to the
Taylor
man that
Hawkins.
got yeah,
Yep.
he got me into drums, man. He is such a good drummer, man.
Taylor was incredible. His stage
Yeah.
presence was great. Did you ever get to see him live?
No, I never got the chance to see them live at all.
So I got to see Foo Fighters a couple of years ago when they came through Phoenix, and it was incredible. And what's
Yeah.
funny, I hate to say it, but the reason I went and then I like had to go, I told Jess was I've got to go before Dave Grohl dies. Like
Yeah.
these guys are they live life hard and fast, and
Hmm.
he's already broken a foot. Like I don't need to
He,
I don't need
he,
to find out one day that Dave Grohl's not here and I missed him, and I got close. I got
the
close
fu-
with it, but
the funny part is when he broke his leg. That was like the second song of that whole entire show,
yeah,
and the adrenaline's just like they all just they they came here to see the show, and then they see Dave Grohl like saying, "Hey, I'm gonna jump off the stage. Let's see what happens."
right.
I think I broke my leg.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. But the big thing I remember from my show that I will not forget, because I mean, there's a lot of great stuff about it. But again, music is music, right? So like you know these
Yeah.
songs, you've seen it. Concerts can
Uh-huh.
kind of blend. The one thing that I won't forget from that is Taylor Hawkins got up and did the set break that Freddie Mercury did at Live Aid. So when he's in that
Wow.
performance, he gets him, oh, and this crowd, yeah,
Yeah.
oh, right. He got up and did it, and it was perfect. But that was
Yeah.
Taylor. Taylor got up like way up on stage. I think he was like on like a raised platform and everything, and he got up,
Yeah.
and that entire stadium did it back to him, and it was perfect. It was awesome. And that out of the entire show, with Dave Grohl being one of my favorite musicians of all time, Taylor is what stuck out to me in that show.
Yeah.
And I will be forever grateful that I got to see him before he passed away, and that he has that forefront spot in my mind for that show.
Yeah. And have you ever listened to some of Taylor's like other bands like Taylor Hawkins and the Coattail Riders and he also did one with Coheed and Cambria, I think that's how
Really?
they Yeah. He
I
was
didn't know
on
that.
I think if I remember what album, it's after the one with the 7, like the not 7, what? Number 4 album
Okay,
that they did. So, it
interesting. I
was
will have to check that out.
2007. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
I love
he's
Coheed.
very
Are they still playing? I think they are.
Uh, they came out with a new album, I think,
Did they?
or new single.
I
I'll
need
send it
to.
to you because I have it on my playlist.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Send that to me. I need to check out and see if they're still running their graphic novel. So they were running their graphic novel off of the second stage Turbine Blade from decades ago, right? And I'm pretty sure what I have is like one of what was supposed to be like 3 major novels. and I've never been able to find the other ones, but I'd love to find out if they are still doing it or if they ever completed it, because it was actually a really good graphic novel, like very similar style to like The Watchmen, and it was Coheed and Cambria is very, very cool to me with the way that when they're making music, they are planning it out for their graphic novel. There is a story behind their albums, and it's because of that graphic novel, which I think is awesome.
Yeah. And also kind of on the topic of that, it was kind of like the same thing with the Foo Fighters, because whenever Dave Grohl was recording for, it was either Concrete and Gold or Medicine at Midnight. Um, they would record, like he would be like at a house or something, like in a studio, and be recording some stuff and be like, bass, drums, guitar, and all that stuff. And he would also send it to the guys in the band to be like, hey, would this be good on the album? And also, that's what also influenced Studio 666, which have you seen yet?
I haven't. I'm going to soon.
Yeah. So that's what kind of influenced Studio 666, was that he would be possessed by a certain thing, and then he would go on to kill his bandmates and then go single, which is kind of a slight spoiler. A slight spoiler.
Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah, but that's kind of like how it goes.
Nice. Very cool. I mean,
Yeah.
The stuff that those guys do is incredible.
Yeah.
Like you said, Foo Fighters is an incredible band. It's a great answer, because it's not. I think Foo Fighters is still one of those bands that is doing it for the love of the music and not just for the money, because they've got more money than they'll ever need. And so at this point, it's their passion, and the fact that they're still passionate about it and updating their sound as they go, not because they have to, but because they want to, and still making music that is enjoyable today and is still something that the masses approve of, is really, really awesome.
Yeah.
So, cool.
And I also wanted to say Dave Grohl is one of the most talented musicians.
Hands down.
Yeah, hands down. He's one of the most talented musicians, because originally he was with Scream, which was way before Nirvana. Like, he was the seventh drummer, Nirvana. And I think he was like 17, 19, I think, whenever he was in Scream. And then whenever he joined Nirvana, Kurt Cobain and Kurt really liked his style. Like, he had perfect metronome timing and all that stuff. And that's how he joined the band, pretty much. And then after Kurt Cobain died, what he did was he made a solo album, which was Foo Fighters at the time, which was the first album that they ever did. Like, if you listen to that album, that's all Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
And people didn't want to know, like, oh, it's that drummer from Nirvana. And the reason he named it Foo Fighters was because he was really into like aliens and UFOs and all that stuff. And I don't really remember how he got the actual Foo Fighter name, but all I know is that he got it from like UFOs and aliens and all that stuff.
Nice.
And then after they recorded their second, it was either their second or third album, he went on to record with Queens of the Stone Age.
I remember that.
Which is Songs for the Deaf. That album. And then he also did some stuff with Them Crooked Vultures, which was I can't remember the guitarist from Queens of the Stone Age. Who was it?
I couldn't give you the name. I'm horrible with names.
Yeah. But then I think that's all I can remember. They also did at a point, like I think it was 2018, 19, they did like covers of Bees Gees, and other stuff like that. Yeah, if you've listened to some of their stuff, which I do.
Nice. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time, Zex. This was a very fun episode. We are going to be moving on over into some Apex over here on Twitch. But again, I wanted to thank you. Go ahead and pitch out the channel and the podcast before we go.
Okay, so the Twitch channel, it is Zexerize_, and the podcast is GYMSOCKS.
Gym
And
socks.
yes, the Gym Socks podcast.
Very cool, man. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that is it for us today. Thank you very much to all the viewers over here on Twitch while we record live, over on YouTube while we record live, and to anyone who is either catching up on the VOD or listening to us over on Spotify. Make sure to follow us at all of your favorite social media, be it Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it may be. But that is it for us today. Zex, you've been a great guest. I appreciate your time. I am Shane Murphy. This is the Man Cave Broadcast. We'll catch you all next time. Good night.